We were to talk about hackers, the shadow brokers. Remember these guys? They had a fairly large trove of NSA exploits, and they offered them for sale. They wanted $7 million. They got one offer for $9,000. So they have dumped them on the internet. And this was a busy Sunday because a lot of security researchers have a lot of files to go through. So far, the reaction on Twitter is some of this is pretty old, like dating back to the 1990s, mostly Linux. The Mock Monster on Twitter, OSX Reverser, tweets, while files are old, there's a lot of interesting stuff on the Equation Group files. The Equation Group is what the NSA group that develops this stuff is called. What they were looking at, methods, etc., very cool. Might not be interesting to young minds, but it's gold for 90s old farts, says OSX Reverser. Actually, the probably most salient tweet is from Edward Snowden, who says, a quick review of the shadow broker's leak of top-secret NSA tools reveals it's nowhere near the full library, and he ought to know, but there's still so much here, the NSA should be able to instantly identify where it came from and how they lost it. If they can't, it's a scandal.
Yeah, but they're not going to tell us if they do. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you may remember that the shadow brokers came to light last August when they posted samples of the exploit code. And after the leak, the FBI arrested a former NSA contractor named Harold Martin.
Yeah, it's unclear as to whether or not he was actually responsible for that, because the guy comes across in the trial as a bit of a hoarder who basically wanted all this stuff.
He had 50 terabytes worth of data over 2 decades.
I was being polite, but it sounds better than crazy old man who just wants to know.
He had worked both for the NSA and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Apparently, he's still a prime suspect for the big shadow brokers case.
It's entirely possible. You know, if you take the stuff out of the building and if you hoard vulnerabilities in this way,
somebody might get your stuff and then release it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it kind of. I was at DEF CON last year, and they got a guy there from one of these Washington think tanks saying, you know, they're probably not holding more than a couple of dozen of vulnerabilities of the most serious. 90% of them get pushed to the vendors, and then something like this comes out, and you're like, no, they're holding on to anything that looks like it could be.
Apparently, a lot of these were highly targeted. For instance, there was a attack against, I think, a PDP-11. There was only 10 of them in the country or something, and so they're very, which means there's not much to worry about for you and me unless you're the target of an NSA attack.
Honestly, though, if you're the target of an NSA investigation, you're screwed. There is nothing you can do to stop it.
It's over.
Yeah.
Apparently, the shadow brokers are fans of President Trump because they say, we're releasing this because Trump has failed us.
Yeah.
I think that might be disinformation.
I've heard one thing. I haven't checked it out on the Medium Post, but apparently the Medium Post is 911 pages, sentences long. But I haven't actually...
Oh, that's interesting.
I haven't checked it out.
It's
just something I saw on Twitter, and
I could find out. You just
cut
and paste
to do
in the Emacs, so I can let you know.
Yeah, I had things to do this weekend.